I have one question for you. Have you yet accepted the void into your heart? I have a pamphlet. Hello, dear viewer. I'm leesusss, and welcome back to Shapes 2 and me watching wee objects flying into the void. I thought about skipping ahead to the next stage, which is I can do, which is paint. I'm not allowed to play with paint yet, which is frustrating because that's what's making so much of this so much a pain in my bits. Because it is being a pain in my bits. The fact that we can't just colour in the shapes into anything we want to is making things a lot harder. But before we get there, I'll show you some of the progress I've been making about efficiencies and stuff like that, and we can, or possibly inefficiencies depending on your point of view. And we can finish off these last two from here. Let's do this one running from here. So we can do this in a minute, but let's get onto this one here. These are one of the side quests, remember, and side tasks. These give us research points so that we could do this chain here to kind of demonstrate what I've been up against. Now, okay, before we do that, let us do one thing which is quite important I've found, which is to look at what's down the line, because these are all linked to each other. One leads on to the next one. So, for example, build this one, then you do that, then you do that, then you do that. You successfily do extra things to your shape as you go on. So what we're looking at here is we need a red one and a pointy grey one, but then we're going to need more, and eventually a blue one on the end. We need more pointy greys is what we need. So as we can't colour things in because teacher won't let us yet, let us play with the paint. She caught us eating glue paste again. We're not allowed to play with paints yet. Where do we get our red hemispheres, quarter circles, and grey pointy bits from? Now, of course, we could take this one, which is what we used early on, and this one here. But I think it's actually probably a better choice to use this over here. Then we can add things in as we go, and it also demonstrates how I've been doing things recently. So, first of all, the critical thing is to do as much as possible, not how I did over here, but out near the production areas, the source areas. So the blocks are coming out here. Do as much work as you can, then deliver what you can into the middle area, and do a little bit of engineer factory bits at the end. But the majority of it, you want it happening where the resource is. Don't make it hard work for yourself. Don't ship potatoes to Tesco's. Make them into chips first, and then ship the chips to Tesco's. Yeah, if you get the point I'm going for here. Possibly not. I am often vague. Let's get a miner on here. We want some of these things here, and we want some resources being fed in like that. There we go. So we've got 4 of these things coming in, and then we get a space belt coming out. Now we'll do a second one just to give us a bit of room. Like that. There we go. Okay, so next we can just do a production run. Actually, we'll hold off on this yet. What do we need to do first with this piece here? Well, there's a few things you could do. So if we take the shapes that are coming out of here, these ones here, we could chop that little bit off there and stick it to a red one. But in fact, probably what's a better idea, I've found in most of these cases, is actually to break every time you have a new block, until we can colour things in, every time you have a new block, break it into all its component parts, yeah, and then reassemble them later. So that's what I've been doing. So I've got a blueprint over here, which is frustrating me a little, but it's the best one I can do for now. This is the coordinator. Okay, let's go over here, and the purpose of the coordinator is to break things into their individual parts, like I just said. So let's just get on going in the right way. It's okay, panic over. I got myself confused for a second. These blocks still look the same after a while. What we've got from here. Okay, what we've got here is a bunch of cutters. Yeah, these cutters here that divide each piece into its successive pieces, and then send them all out into various paths. And this is, of course, a mirror image of this. Or that's a mirror image of this, if you like. And we've got 3 lots. Now, I've tried many times, for quite a few hours actually, collectively, to try and make this more efficient. So I could fit maybe, this is like a one-size block here. Yeah, try to fit 2 of these onto one block, or fit them more evenly so they've got less gaps between them. But I've constantly hit into problems. This is about as efficient as I can get for now, until I get more advanced either machines or a 3rd level, which is what I'm saving up for. I need about 50 research points for a third level. Hopefully be able to move these things out a bit more easily. So right now I've got the best I can do, which is having 2 blocks like this. Actually, that's a bit soon for that. We'll do that in a minute. Having blocks, and they feed out in multiple locations, but essentially on every edge here you have some lower level outputs and some upper level outputs, and it should be fairly easy to feed this. And yes, pin task, we've done that one. That's now completed, isn't it? There we go. Some more XP points. We need to, let's see how good this is at feeding the machine, and we'll change this a bit later. So the key thing to know from here is that when we split the bits off, we want to see which bits are ending up where. So you can see over here, for example, we've only got 2 parts, right, to this one. So we've actually, we've only got 2 parts to this one, but we've got 3 parts, or is it 4 coming out of this one here? 3 parts coming out of here. So one of the conveyors we can figure out entirely, but essentially we've got sticky out bit, spiky bit there, and then a square there. Now they should be the same on every output. Okay, I'm not feeding this one yet. But essentially we're making the same thing in every location, which should make it easier to work out what's coming out where and what orientation they're coming in at. So next thing to do from here is we want to organize all the parts that we have. Yeah, so for example, do it early on to make it easier. We'll put a block here, we'll put a block there, just to feed it onto. Just run this example. Okay. So now we can see we've got one feed out from here and one feed out from above. Now at the moment the only thing we want is one spike. So the best thing to do for now is to turn these, just dump them in the trash. Why am I doing that? Well, because of course this machine has got to have an output, yeah, to be able to keep on running. Okay, if one of these gets blocked, like one of these shapes isn't being taken away, the whole machine stops working over there as well. So in fact, we can worry about this one later. We don't care about these two particularly. This machine is being fed. We'll step up these ones later as we progress, but we're setting up some of the early things from here. But in fact, what we want out of here, we only want one of these. We want just this little bugger here, yeah? We want that coming out, and we're going to do something with it. We're going to join it to some red circles. So where are the red circles going to come from? Well, you may ask that. What we can do, of course, is have over here. We don't need to. This is not actually doing anything right now. We could ignore this for a while. We can use a coordinator again over here as a known block. Slam it down here, and we get the same thing, the same output again. Yeah, but this time maybe we do think a little bit different about what we're going to keep and what we aren't going to keep. Let's put a block down here so we can see what's coming out. Just checking, this is the only output, isn't it, from this one? Yeah, the only output from this group of machines is here. So in fact we can actually just copy this one again. How about we try again? Okay, here come the outputs. So the bit we want from here, the only bit we care about is not this one. This time we're not getting an output from this top one here, yeah? That doesn't matter too much. Is we want the red quarter circles coming out from here. Okay, that's our output from this one here. And we can expand out to these ones that are producing as well, but for now that's all we want. Now, what do we want to do with these things? We want to join them together, of course, don't we? So let's be neat. Let's be neat and tidy. Let's get rid of these. Don't need those anymore. We want to have a machine that joins these bits and pieces together. So what do we need for that? Well, we need, what horrible name did I give this one? Probably the pilinator or the stackinator. Let me find one of those. Okay, there we go. This has been rotated a few different times because of how the inputs are coming in, but essentially it's the same thing each time. And again, it's annoying me there's gaps in here, but I'm not unable at the moment to squeeze them together any more than they are at the moment. So what do we have here? Well, we have a slight variation on what you might have seen before, which is a different stacker. So before we were using this stacker here, yeah, which has two inputs, one at ground level, one at level 2, and a single output there. For now, I've actually moved on to using this one, which has the same two inputs, but it inputs and exports to the side. This is actually more awkward to try and do things with this. I find it much more frustrating. In which case, why am I using it? Well, quite simple, really. This one outputs at 25 per minute, or per meter, whatever you want to call that, and this one is 37.5 per m. So I'm happy to deal with the frustration of this for the 1/3 faster output. So in fact, what you have here is a system where you've got you've got a feed that goes in this way. The lower feed feeds this side, then goes around the other side to feed that side, and we've got an upper feed which feeds the which is this one coming in from? The upper feed's actually coming from over here this time, which feeds the upper stack, and this puts one on top of the other. Now we can do that here for these, but let us look at what we're getting out of here. We want a belt. No. Goes in like that. There we go, it's feeding in over there. It's actually feeding into the wrong location. Let's feed it in over this side so it matches the one I've got over here. Here they come in, yeah, and we want the circles coming in as well. So the circles are going to come in from, well, the quarter circles are coming from this side. Now, while they've not reached here, you can see there's a problem with the output. They're not matching entirely what they want from here. The spiky bits need to be a quarter turn to the side. So if we quarter turn them clockwise, they should be correct. So in fact, we can do that here. See, now you can see that the output has changed, so we are getting, if I look at that correctly, oh, you know what? That's not quite right. Yeah. Now you might think, okay, it's rotated around the other way. This actually doesn't matter for the far as the game concerned. So I should be able to, if I turn this to counterclockwise. Okay, we've cleared a lot of the trash out now. We're now getting the correct ones coming through. There you go. I had to use a 180 to rotate from there. So now we can just feed this back to the void, which is over here. What space have we got over here? Not very much. We can just get rid of this though. We don't actually need that right now for that many circles coming out. We're not using circles right now. We don't care about that. Okay, so output is from here. Okay, we had some oddities coming out of there, but I seem to have fixed it now as far as that goes. As long as they all look correct on here, it should be fine for now in terms of the orientation. I now have feeds from here as well coming out, but we could go further. For example, we're only feeding from one supply here right now. We're not using, this entire factory over here. We could do that as well. We could feed even more resources on here if we want to, as far as that goes. It's not the most efficient system in the world, but that's fine. We can put more in there as we go. And what I'll do now is I'll stack up some more of these so we're ready for the next stage of building. Right, so at this stage here, we now have feeds coming into the full stackinator here. We have them coming from every side of the grey production pieces over here, and then we have multiple feeds from the red over here. In fact, we're probably a bit underbalanced with the red when this sorts itself out. We are getting a ton of the right pieces going into here, and of course we're massively overloading the output from here. It's actually a little bit empty just because there was a bit of an upset over the two feeds, but this is going to be full before long of these various pieces coming in. And of course, that's only the first stage from this. The reason why I'm overdoing most of this is because we need to go to the next stage here. So we want to, this is feeding and this is great, but we want to take the output from here and then do something else to it. And the something else in question is, of course, we've got all these spare grey bits lying around. What do we do with them? So for example, we've got these ones here which are currently being chucked in the bin over here. Yeah, we're being chucked in the trash. So what if we took another one of these and we put it. I make a right mess. I don't like to have the mess coming in when I do it, but we'll do this for now. Hold on. Let's think about the right feed from here. Right, there we go. So we want to take the pieces we've got, the existing one from here, and add the other piece onto the side. Now, it doesn't actually matter which one's coming in from the top and which one's coming in from the bottom. We can sort that out later, except for when it comes to managing the orientation of where everything's coming out. So at the moment, what we can do is we can move this across to here. If we make these the bottom ones that are going to feed into here, yeah, and the top ones are going to come in from there. So let's have a look. Here they come. Now we did an upper feed as well. We're only getting half the feed that's coming out of this, I think. Yeah, we're only getting the lower feed and not the upper one. We can sort that out later. The important thing, the shapes are coming in. We want to feed in the grey pieces from there. And there we go. When they come in, we will start to get now production of these. So we can now rejoin this up over here. And that'll be sending them all into the next area. It's still attached up here, so we have to make minimal changes apart from how that goes. But we do need to feed these other factories as well. Okay, there we have the production of the, what do you want to call this? Red triangle wing thing coming through there. Red circle double spike thing coming through from here. We've linked all these up, so we're making use of the upper piece here, the unused little triangle piece is now being fed across here. And this is annoying. What I would normally do here is probably I would flip around some of these factories so that they feed out from different directions to make it more efficient, but I'm not going to worry about that. Essentially, I've just changed how the outputs are coming out from there and feed them in from different locations. What we are getting though is too many of certain objects, and we're also not getting fed into this side here, so we're not getting the production come through from here. But this is being unused entirely. So how do we get? We want the other pieces coming in on the higher level. So I think that's we're going to need a rotation around to make this work in the same way. And there we go, an extra belt feed going around here. We've taken half of the output of the secondary little spike pieces and we've run them off the top of the stack from here, and now they're coming in through here and feeding both factories. And this will catch up after a while. It just needs a bit of time to stack things up from here. Things tend to get slower and slower the more of these production units you fill in. There's nothing you can do about that really. It's just how it is. What we need to do though is feed it into there. So now we've got these coming out. We need I suspect I've got the right pieces coming out from here. Let's just follow the path along. Yeah, we're getting them coming out from here, and we should have the pieces. Oh, we've got a couple of dodgy ones coming out there. It seems to be okay for now. We're getting much production from these, and we're already halfway through from there. But of course, when we've done this, we've got another one coming out. This is going a fair rate. If I'm seeing them ticking away this fast, I'm pretty happy with that. What are we going to have next? We're going to have a third spike we need to add on. Now, if we start to try to take off more of these, we could probably take off some of the raw material. I mean, it's not moving very fast, isn't it? We could do that. We could do that from there and then use that to make the third one. However, we've got to be careful not to deplete our supply too much, because we could strangle the rest of the production through from here. So in fact, why don't we look at what's after this? What's after the next little spike? The blue ones. So if we do take off another spike out of this feed here, we know that we're not going to be taking any more than that afterwards. We haven't got like a fourth spike add on yet to really deplete our supply. So I think we probably can use the pieces from here, or what we could do right now, over here we are only taking off the one spike from here, aren't we? We could do more with that. In fact, we can produce more reds as well. I'm not really making full use of the production here. We're okay. I think we're ticking away quite fast over here. If we had like an 8,000 target, I'd maximise the output from here, but I don't think we actually need to. So what we can do, we can take off the what do you call it? The little spikes from here and use them for our next production run and think ahead. So to do that, we need to cross over the belts. We haven't got a way of stepping up and over space belts yet, so that might come in later. I have no idea. So the best thing to do is to slam a platform down. That gives us room. We can build, I'm sure on the harder levels it's more difficult than this, but we can build so many platforms. We can probably pave a lot of this area and not worry about it. So let's not worry about it at all. In fact, this is actually not efficient because I've not been dumping the pieces out of here, have I? Which I should do really, because of the way the feed, half of our feed is being wasted over on this side. Let's do this. So every time I've got these pre-made factories, and every time I think I'm making something more efficient, I suddenly get the feeling that maybe I'm not. You know what I mean? That I said we still should be doing a lot of work to make these things function. Maybe it's that maybe the problem here is that I'm not. I need more of a prep area. Like, so when for example, okay, which side do I feed everything into? Oops. Which side do I use to feed everything in to the new factories? You know, that's the usual question that comes next, isn't it? You know, okay, I've got a production coming out here. That's fine. That's all done over here. I can now ignore this. But where are the pieces coming out from, and how do I marry them up together on the other side? That seems to be always the next question from here. Why is this not producing things? Oh, because I've not run it off of here. That's why. I think I need I've made these factory blocks, which is great, and they are making things easier. I can easily plug and play more easily with a bit of variation. But I've always got to think about where everything's coming in from. So that means in every case when I make a factory block like this, I should always have another box here or something else around it that is the prep area to make sure things are feeding in from the right direction. Or do I need to rework this so that the inputs are always coming in the same way? Maybe this is a pain. This coming. So part of the reason this is like this, by the way, just to give you an idea about why is this one feeding out of here, this one feeding out of here. The point is that by the time I've fed everything in this design, I can only feed out from this side. There's no room to get this output from here also feeding out this way. Now another solution to that is to have 3 blocks. So to have 3 platforms, 1, 2, 3. There's a factory block here which feeds into the middle, a factory block here which feeds into the middle, and then use a whole block to take the outputs, the output from this one, which will go this way. Demonstrate. A factory block here that feeds outputs to here, a factory block here that feeds outputs to here, yeah? And this is how we organise things a bit more neatly. But something in me makes me angry, the fact that I have to use an entire block. Even though I've got thousands of darn things, I have to use an entire block just to take the feed out of somewhere. Now, you didn't have this problem with the previous version, because of course it wasn't all empty space. You had a big blank sheet you could draw whatever you wanted on. But something about that frustrates me, and I'm not quite sure how to manage it yet. I think still that when we hit the 3rd floor, the 3rd layer is going to be the transport layer. So you use the 3rd layer to transport everything out. So you could just, from here, you could go up to the 3rd layer and feed everything out from here into the main block. Or maybe even, in some cases, I've had thoughts where, what if I had a 3rd layer, I could feed all the supplies in from the 3rd layer, but probably out is what I'm thinking of for now. And the 3rd becomes logistics to deal with a lot of the spaces. I don't know, but this is just irritating me right now. I want to have a better system than this, and I simply haven't got that, so it's just tough, you know, but that's what I want to have. And I'm not getting it right now. Why am I not getting these things coming out of here? Oh, because I'm looking at the orientation, aren't I? Okay, so that's one. Right, just feed it in there, Mia. We can see what it is in a minute. Okay, so I tend to think of these in top right, bottom left type ideas. So at the moment, this is coming out the top right, but in fact we want it on the to marry it up with these, we've got a shift to go faster. We want it coming out of the bottom left, pointing to the bottom left. Yeah, that's we want it from there. So let's try to do that. What we can do is we can have this needs to be flipped 180. So let's have a feed out like that. We'll put some 180 rotators in there. Which, by the way, what I was talking about an exit or a prep block is kind of what we're doing here, isn't it, really? We're using an entire block just to get all the materials transporting out in the way that I want them. How do I want to do this? Not like that. That'll do. That'll do. Oops, that won't do. Okay, so we should have over here, yes, we have what we want. This is the output line, isn't it, over here. Let's get rid of this for now. We don't need this anymore. We'll give it a bit of space to maneuver over here. And that should give us, stomach's gurgling, exactly what we need. This one here, oh, I see, we've got a mix up here. We've got double stacks coming out, yeah? We've managed to double stack some of these. What have I done wrong with the input here? Oh, I see, my input is wrong there, isn't it? This is wrong. Yeah, they're not all right. Well, we're getting some more correct ones coming through. Now we've cleared a lot of this garbage out. We're getting them coming through. Where is this coming from? Oh, it's the other feed, isn't it? Okay, that's coming from there. Now, what's the last step after this? Oh, we haven't got a last step. We've got another step from here. Okay. So we're keeping... We're putting a... Oh, this is a tricky one. I did this last time. Okay. We're putting a little cabin on the aeroplane. Yeah, a blue square. Where can we get blue squares from? Well, actually, we've got a million bloody blue squares. We've got to build this soon, which is not that... I'll do this off camera. This isn't that hard. I've got blue squares coming out of them. 100 places. But... one of the places we do have it coming from is, of course, here. So let's keep on trying to do what we're doing here, which is trying to keep this as efficient as possible. We need to expand the production out from here, probably. Yeah, I need to do that. I'll do that in a second. And then we need to take the blue circles out, right? And the blue circles are... blue squares are going where? They're going into here. So we can feed them out of there. What you can see is, imagine another block of these, of course, up here, and we'll feed the blue circles in from one side, blue squares in from one side. Why did I say circles? Blue squares in from one side, and this lot out from the other, and we should be making, yeah, let's get that done. Okay, stage one, optimize this a bit better. Okay, that's all that dealt with. Then we could take some more of these reds, can't we? Is what we can do. So why don't we say that these reds here are now contributing to this. That's a whole lot of red thingies going through. Now let's get a whole lot of blue ones going through as well. And we can probably feed them out here. Yeah, I'm feeling more and more like that, that when we have a system like this, if it continues to exist as it is here, we need to have more of these external prepping blocks, but they might start up existing on the third layer. Is where we put those to take away this and make things a little bit prettier. We have a more vertical build. Yeah. Okay, that one is done, and I've already started to make some of these. Well, I haven't actually. I've started I was already hiving some off to make some of those, but I haven't actually started feeding them into the void yet. See, here's our outgoing feed. So that's outgoing. don't need that anymore. They're all feeding into here now. And they also need to feed into there. That's ugly, but there we go. Am I doing this right? Get the feeling I've made a mistake somewhere. Those are going to be turned around. These ones should be correct. Starting to get some correct ones coming out. They're in the right location, the right orientation. There we go. We've got some correct ones coming out. Well, I'll worry about the others in a minute. Let's start these going, shall we? We can use, of course, the same output as before when I set it up. Here we go. All correct as before. What am I doing wrong here? That I'm feeding them into the wrong ones? Am I doing the double stack? I'm doing the double stack again. Okay. Is that what I need? Maybe that's what I need. Yeah. That seems to be more like about right. Let's feed these. Let's feed this crap out of here anyway. We don't care. It'll all sort itself out in the mix. Yeah, well, those wrong ones. I think we're getting there. These seem to be much slower production. Oh, that's why they're in the wrong place again. Like they're not feeding out from here. I need to change the output. Damn it. There you go. The output's kicking up now. This should turn up at the speed a little bit faster now from in here. And then the last part is we look from in here. The last I had to put another semicircle on here. They did this to me with the last shape. They suddenly added something extra in that was a bit trickier to do. This one's actually not too bad. One of the last shapes. Which one was it? Let me find the one that was giving me a bit of a bum pain. I can't find it now. How strange. Wasn't this surprising? That's actually quite easy, that one there. Was it this one? Yeah, because it's because partly how I built it in halves, and this last piece was causing me a bit of an irritant. So the question is, where do we get these quarter circles from? And I think we've got an excess of quarter circles coming out over here, probably. We probably have more than we need. Let's have a little look at what the supply is looking like. Yeah, it's not exactly flying down the thing, is it, really? Not really at all. It's going quite slowly. So I think we can probably... we've got more production than we need. We can take off some of these for the last point. Now, of course, how do we get out the spaghetti to make this in the first place, is the question. Do we take an entire one of these feeds? We might do, actually. We might take this feed here and use that for it. Or we can do something else, actually. We can take something else. So over here, I'm only cutting these into halves, aren't I? There's a red piece on here. I could take that into half. That's not really quite right. Those are ticking away nicely. Where can we get another? Where can we get an easily accessible quarter circle from? Okay, we are finally there. We've hit the target here. Now you might notice that there's actually nothing coming out of here. This is not uncommon, I've found, with my builds. After a certain point, things seem to get strangled, especially on the last stage, and I have to do a little bit of tweaking here to make them work. And it can vary a great deal about what the cause is, but at the moment you can see I started to make a progress on this when I was waiting. There's something imbalanced in here about how I'm doing things with these factories. I don't think they're terrible, but I think they're a little bit off in terms of how the feeds are working and the ratio of feeds. And as things get more and more complicated, this is kind of critical from here. But this is not atypical for this sort of level. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels of, you know, of breakdown and reassembly required to hit everything we need to on one of these. Where's one of these little side quests? The colourful star one's from there. Anyway, we're working through stack, cut, and cut, and I'll probably hit the same thing there. So what I'm doing, I'm always evolving these things, and I've already, I think, made some changes about things over here. So, for example, gone are the massive Mark III coordinators, or whatever terrible thing I called them. I've moved to like single ones from here to try and balance the feeds a bit better. So here I'm to make this one, I'm attaching 2 of the bits from here to make bigger ones from there. I've got a double here, but a lot of the time I'm actually changing things to make them a lot simpler. And I think that might be the answer. I think I've tried to go too big, and in fact the feeds become difficult. But it is an issue, because, for example, if you want to so you want to treat these like these stacks I've made here. I can't, the way I've made them, I've thought about them. In my idle times, I often come back to these and try to think, can I make these better? And without new things such as the third layer and other things from there, or wasting a lot of space on a bigger platform, I don't think I can in a lot of ways. And if you try to improve these and then like have individual units running, because of the limitations of the space belts, how to feed resources in becomes more and more difficult. It's hard to explain without you having played the game, if you haven't yet, but to do with like feeding in from here, resources in from here, and then if I was to add another, say that I had another one of these here, yeah, another one of these units here, okay, and I had 2 feeds and the raw resources are coming in this way. One lot of raw resources are coming in this way, and one lot of raw resources are coming in this way. So I could extend this up to here so that 2 feeds are coming into this side, but then to try and get the raw resources feeding in from the base, you can see I'm clashing with the belts. I'm either clashing with the output belt, or I'm clashing with the input belt for the secondary resource. Yeah, so, and I don't seem to be able to fix that. Or if I split this into 2 individual units, to having 2 lots of factories doing the same thing, factory blocks doing the same thing, the other belts will clash instead. So although on a micro level things look like this, individual factory units are having belts feeding in and out, and on a macro level it's a little bit similar. Here's a factory unit made of lots of small units doing one job and is feeding in and out. The in-out is not as flexible because you haven't got upper and lower levels for the in and out. That's why I'm starting to struggle. Now I will come to a solution to this eventually, either through technology advances in the game or so, but at the moment I'm kind of stuck with what I've got. I can't really improve these much better as far as I can see. So I will do what I can in playing with this one to try and make things better. That one's wrong for a start. Look at that. That's wrong. Try and make these a bit better. But at the moment I'm hitting my technological and possibly my brain limits from this. But anyway, don't worry about that. That's my problem to solve. Don't worry about that. What we're going to do next episode is we're going to go and we're going to lock it now. Actually, we're going to unlock splashing around and paints. Oh, that looks fabulous. Look at that. I love that. I love the little hot dog coming in and out to colour the bits. I love that from there. I want to see how fluids and things like that work next time. But that's next time, and we will discover how to make some of these things. I hope these are still okay. I'm still enjoying these. I'm still enjoying making them. Hopefully I do enough edits and bits in between that it's not too rambling for you, which is what I'm most worried about, and it's still of interest. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you again next time.